Since the video project requires audio mixing, we thought that we'd show you again 3 quick ways that you can do that. And again, we're talking about mixing the audio of the interview that you do or the audio of the character with the audio of the natural sound or the audio from the B-roll. So those two are going to have to be mixed together. Again, the audio of the character and the audio of the natural sound. And keeping in mind that your character should be doing some sort of demonstration here, and this is going to be very similar to that. What I have is I've got 3 clips on the timeline here. The one in the middle that you're looking at right now, that's a volleyball coach, and she's just basically doing an explanation of how to spike a volleyball. So it's that same concept again of video explaining something. And then of course what we have with the other 2 clips are the player who is actually demonstrating the process of spiking it. So we've got 2 shots of the player doing her thing, and then we've got the coach talking about it. And this again would be the general gist of what you would do for the video project. It's a video story project. All right, so what we want to do is, again, we're going to show you 3 quick ways to mix the audio. And we're talking again about the audio of the voice of the character with the audio of the natural sound from the B-roll. So first thing you want to do, of course, is make sure that you have the proper audio setting for your character. And we always say that -12 over here in the VU meter, the volume unit meter, -12 is where you want it to peak. Okay, and we are lucky enough to have this one be right at that level. Now, I know you can't hear her very well, but that's fine. You can see exactly where where her audio level is peaking, and it is coming in at -12. So that's exactly where we want it. All right, so that's the first step, again, to make sure that you have the proper setting, the proper audio setting for your character. All right, then you're going to mix the audio and you're going to mix the natural sound. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to have to use 2 video tracks and 2 audio tracks. And of course the reason for that is because your character video and audio would be in video 1 and audio 1, but then when you add your B-roll, of course, you're going to have to go up into video 2 and audio 2. Now, you may remember and be very familiar with the fact that with Adobe Premiere, I can move this video. This is going to be my B-roll here, this first clip, and again, this is just a shot of the player actually demonstrating how to hit the ball to perform a proper spike. But what I can do is I can move her video up into video track 2, and then you'll see what happens with Adobe Premiere. Audio does not move. All right, so that means, of course, that I have to actually move audio down as well. So make sure that you do both. Again, take your video for your B-roll, move it into video 2, and make sure that the audio for your B-roll is in audio 2. And then, of course, I'm just going to drag those over, and they'll line up perfectly here. They'll be right above, the video will be right above my character, and the audio will be right below the character. So what I've got then basically is just I want to establish my character because I want the audience or the viewer to see who it is that is talking. So let me move this back for just a moment, and I'm going to play this, and again, I'll turn it up, but I don't think you're going to be able to hear it very well. I'm just going to pick an arbitrary spot here where it would sound pretty good to bring the audio in, to bring the B-roll in. So I'm looking for a spot for the B-roll to begin. And I want to establish, as I said, I want to establish the character so that the audience or the viewer can see who it is.
Okay, after the ball is set, Paige needs to...
So I'm just going to stop it right there. Paige needs to, and of course Paige is the player she's referring to. So now she's about to explain, she's about to explain what has to happen, what the player should do to spike that ball properly. So I'm going to choose that as my point. I'm going to bring my video over. And again, it brings the audio with it, of course. So now I'm set. But now the question is, do I have the proper mix? And again, I can do this a couple of different ways. But the first thing that I want to check, actually, is where is the audio level for my B-roll right now? Okay, I want to have an idea of where it is so that I can know if it has to be adjusted and if it has to be adjusted by a lot or a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over to the A1 or Audio 1 track here. That's where the coach is. I'm going to hit the M button for mute, And now I'm just going to play my B-roll and see where the VU meter indicates that audio is at. So let's find out. Okay, so Adobe was lagging just a little bit, but when she makes contact with the ball, when she actually does the spike, it does come in at -12. And of course, -12 is where the coach's voice is. So that would mean that the natural sound audio from the B-roll and the voice of the character would be at the same level. We would not want that because they would be competing with each other. All right, we want obviously the sound, the natural sound audio to be lower. We want to mix it with the voice of the character, but we want the character's voice to be the prominent audio. So what we need to do is bring this down a little bit. All right, and of course the way that that can be done, you know, here's way number one, the rubber band, okay? And of course the rubber band is just simply this white line in the middle here of the audio track. So all I have to do is just grab that and raise it or lower it, and that will either increase or decrease my natural sound audio. So I know it's at -24, and for natural sound, you probably, I'm sorry, I know it's at -12, I beg your pardon. I know right now that the audio for my natural sound, as we just saw, when the ball is actually hit, it comes in at -12. But we want to actually keep it at about -24. Somewhere between the -36 and -24 range is where you're going to want to run your natural sound audio. It just simply depends on how loud your natural sound is. Usually -24 will mix very well with the audio of the character, who again will be at -12. But sometimes, if the natural sound is very loud, we may have to drop it closer to -36 to get the mix that we're looking for. So let's go back here, and what I'm going to do is, again, I've got the coach muted, and I'm looking to bring in the audio from the B-roll, or the ball being hit, at about -24. So I'm going to grab my rubber band, and I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and we'll see where that is. I'll back up my scrub line and play it. Not bad, just a little bit above -24. So I'm going to go for a little bit less audio. So again, I'm going to grab my rubber band, bring it down just a little bit more. Let's see where that comes in. Very nice, right there at -24. So I should have the mix that I want. Let's go back and we'll play it, and we'll hear the coach, and then we'll see the B-roll. Well, we won't hear the coach until I unmute her. Okay, there we go. Much better.
Ball is set. Paige needs to locate the ball.
-12 for her voice.
Behind it, get the elbow back high.
And -24. Not a bad mix. Not a bad mix. I'm going to be honest with you, because I can hear it. Again, I know you cannot, but visually you can see that the audio looks very good. But in just listening to it through the earbuds, I'm going to bring it up a little bit, okay? I mean, it's fine, but I could hear just a little bit more and it wouldn't hurt anything. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, and I'm curious to see where that will take me. Again, I'm going to mute the coach. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to play the B-roll again, and I'm going to check the audio one more time. And it's getting a little bit close to -12 there. I'm looking for that happy medium, is what I really want. I want that happy medium between -12 and -24, because we had it peaking at -24, and I decided it should be maybe just a little louder. And that might be it right there. So I think I just found my happy medium. I'm going to unmute the coach this time and play it.
To locate the ball and get her shoulder behind it. Get the elbow back high.
Nice, much nicer. It's just a little bit more prominent. Again, I realize you can't hear it, but it's just a little bit more prominent in terms of the actual contact with the ball. It was fine at -12. Okay, excuse me, it was fine at -24, but I was looking for a little bit more, somewhere between 24 and 12. I found it, and it sounds just a little bit better. So the rubber band is one way that you can adjust audio. Now, there's another way, of course, and that would be the audio mixer, and that is up here. If you come to the toolbar at the top of Adobe, and you come to Window, And then all you have to do is go to the audio track mixer selection, click on that, all right? And it'll open up. And of course, if you're familiar with an audio mixer, you're well aware of what you're looking at. Basically, you have the 3 channels. They give you 3 channels, channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3. Let me scroll down here just a little bit so you get a better view. There it is. It says audio 1, audio 2, and audio 3, or channel 1, 2, and 3. And then over here you have your master, and of course that's the one that basically controls all of the audio selections, or all of the audio channels. So we're going to put our master right where it is by default at 0. We're going to leave it right there. But we know that we've got a perfect level on the coach who's in audio 1. So we know that audio 1 does not have to be adjusted. However, we want to play with the audio that's in audio 2, which is the natural sound audio from the B-roll. So here's audio 2, and again, what I can do is I can simply adjust it from here instead of using my rubber band. So just for an example, let me start by taking my rubber band and putting it back at the default setting, okay? Right in the middle here. So there's the rubber band where it originally was, all right? And now, again, if I play it, let me mute the coach one more time, and if I play it, we should see the natural sound coming in about -12 when she makes contact. And we do. All right. So we know that's too loud, so we can come over to audio 2. We can just grab the slider or the fader, and we'll bring it down a little bit, and then we'll go back and we'll play it again, and we'll see where it comes in this time. And it's just barely hitting 24. We know we're looking for something just a little louder, a little hotter, somewhere between -24 and -12. So I'm going to up it. I'm going to come back over here to, again, my slider or my fader, raise it just a little bit. Now let's see what I've got. When the ball is hit, yeah, perfect. I love it. Okay, right there between -12 and -24. So let's see how it sounds. And this you could only imagine. Yeah, but again, I forgot to unmute the coach. So I could only imagine. Now I'm going to be able to tell. Okay.
To locate the ball and get her shoulder behind it, get the elbow back
Yeah,
high.
again, it's that real nice sound to it. So that again, the coach is the prominent audio, but you can clearly hear the ball being hit. It just does not compete with the coach's voice. So you have the rubber band, and you have the audio mixer, and then last but not least, number 3 is the gain, okay? Now the gain function is actually the easiest because all you have to do is right-click. However, you have to do a little math. You have to calculate how many decibels you want the gain to adjust. So knowing that math is not everybody's favorite subject, let me just sort of explain this to you, and hopefully it'll be rather easy to understand whether or not you want to use it. But what we're going to do is we're going to highlight here, which again is the audio and audio track 2, the audio for the natural sound on the B-roll. And we're going to right-click. Like I said, that's all you really have to do. You just simply right-click, and then you go to the selection Audio Gain, all right? That opens up this window. Now you have several choices in this window, but the one that we would want to use would be the second one, which is Adjust Gain By. And this is where you have to enter the number of decibels that you want the audio gain to adjust, all right? So basically what I'm saying is, if you remember, when we brought the audio, well, the video and the audio of this clip of the player spiking the ball, when we brought that over to the timeline, it registered at a -24. It did not register at a -12. What have I got? All right. So a third way to adjust the audio is with the gain. Now, the gain is actually the easiest because all you have to do is right-click. The problem is you have to do some math, and that's not everybody's favorite subject. you actually have to calculate how much you want the audio to change. And that's where it gets a little, well, not necessarily complicated, but a little trickier. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We've got the B-roll clip highlighted here. And again, it's in video 2 and audio 2. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to right click on the audio, because again, this is the audio that we want to adjust. It's the audio of the B-roll. So when I right click, I get a couple of choices, and I'm going to come here to audio gain. When I click on that, I've got more choices. And in this case, it's the second choice that I would select. And that is the adjust gain by. And again, this is where you have to enter a number, the number of decibels that you want the gain adjusted by. So this is where the math comes in, all right? So for just a moment, I'm going to cancel out of this. We'll come back to it. But if you remember when we brought this clip of the B-roll over, it registered at a -12 audio when the ball was actually spiked. So let me play it for you, just so we can refresh your memory. Watching over here. Now Adobe decided to lag. Let's try it one more time. Okay, watching here, when the ball is hit, it should be -12, and it is. Okay, so we know the natural sound audio is at -12. Now, based on working with the rubber band and based on working with the audio mixer, we know that the ideal setting for natural sound audio is going to be between -12 and -24. So we'll call that maybe, I don't know, -20, all right? So we know we want it to peak in that range. So we're going to say -20 is going to be our magic number. Well, if we know that the audio is already at -12, okay, we want to drop it, so that's going to be negative. We want to go into the negative numbers. We want to drop it to a -20, okay? Well, the difference between 12 and 20 is 8. So let's see if that works, all right? Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to right-click on the audio in audio track 2, the natural sound audio. I'm going to come to audio gain, and now up here where it says adjust gain by, the second selection, I'm going to enter -8. -8 decibel, and I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it. This time I'm going to mute the coach. Well, she already is muted actually, which is good. That's what we want, because we just want to be able to see the reading of the audio from the B-roll that's in audio track 2. So let's see what it is. Again, when that ball is spiked, it should go between -24 and -12, and it did. So our math was correct. Now again, I'm going to play it one more time because Adobe lagged, but it lagged with the video, but the audio you could see. But nonetheless, I want to try it once more. I'm going to play it again. Watch it again. It should be between -24 and -12, right there at about a -20 level. So again, -8 was our magic number. So there's 3 ways you can adjust the audio to mix it. You can use the rubber band, you can use the audio mixer, or you can use the gain. And again, the idea is just to find the perfect blend so that the main audio, the stronger audio, the dominant audio is going to be the voice of your character. And then the sound, the natural sound audio, the natural sound from your B-roll is going to be a little less than that, but it's still going to be easy enough to hear so that, again, we have that see it, hear it going on, that if the viewer sees some footage, they hear the audio that goes with it. And it's just a matter of mixing it all together.